I don't know everything, nor do I know anything. And that's the thing that I know. I say that because for a majority of my life, I really paid no mind to the context or the framing of the situation, right? Take, for instance, these roses. It's a dozen of them. They're from my wife. She loves roses. She likes flowers in general, but she really wasn't a flower person until we started dating. I guess people in her past never really gave her any flowers. And if you gonna be with me, you for sure gonna get your flowers. I'm gonna let that stop crinkling and crackling. Now, on its own, I just took it out of its wrapper. It looked a particular kind of way. Yes, the flowers are flowers. But if we were to frame these in a particular or more intentional way, we could probably get a different experience. Take, for instance, just how this rose is still closed up. Could open it up a little bit more. We could also put it in a glass. Okay? Well, if I were to just put it in here like this, it doesn't look that flattering. But let's say if I wanted like it to rest right here, okay, right here at that angle. Now we have 1 of 12 roses sitting in the water. What am I saying? I'm saying that just because you have a particular thing, if you really want to drive home the point of the thing that you're saying, expressing, or sharing, you need to package it. And it needs to look good. It needs to smell good, feel good. And wow, this has a lot of thorns. Probably should take off the points that aren't that flattering. You can catch more flies with honey than you can with vinegar. I'm not saying that people are flies, but I'm just saying the whole sentiment of just because you have the thing doesn't mean that thing is completely there. And also, this shows intentionality. Yeah, I could just buy the roses and hand them to my wife and be like, hey, I love you, I appreciate you, I'm proud of you. What you're doing is so amazing, which is true. But also, on top of saying that and sharing that, I can show that by being like, hey, I'm about to be intentional in how I present this to you. A lot of y'all may not know that I do freelance art handling at a museum in town. And I've learned so much about just the power of framing and the context in which we experience things. And it's significantly influenced my art and my life in general. I'm gonna tell you a story. I've seen art galleries go from completely demolished white walls to taking crates off of, I was gonna say ships, but you take them off of like big cargo trucks, taking the crates off the trucks, loading up the crates, taking the art out of the crates, putting the art in specific places in the gallery that's been curated by the curators of whatever specific museum you're at, leaning them against the wall, curators looking at the piece and being like, I think it should slide like maybe an inch to the right. And to you, you're like, an inch? Is that really gonna make a difference? You slide it an inch and then you're like, I see what's going on. Where it's like, hey, maybe we should flip these two pieces because they have a better conversation with this other piece that's on the wall. Things that I never even paid attention to. But then when I became aware of it, I started to see the value in it. So you go from these pieces that are laid up against the wall to being like, okay, great call. We're gonna put those on the walls where they are. Mind you, before we even put the pieces on the walls themselves are being painted in a particular hue or format that complements the pieces of art, thus giving it even more context, giving it even more framing, and overall just a better experience. Once the pieces are up, not only Are the walls made intentional for the pieces of art, and the frames themselves are made intentional for the pieces of art? But also lighting crews come in there and they hit the pieces of art in particular angles, particular degrees of sunlight, not sunlight, of light, should I say, temperatures, whether it's cold or warm, and just intensity, where you have just like splashes of light in a certain part of the wall, and then pockets of darkness, and then another splashes of light. And then before you know it, what was once this stark white room that had no character at all has become an immersive experience because of all the intentionality that's gone into the creating of this specific exhibition. Why do I say all that? Because it's beautiful. And something compounds its beauty when there's intentionality behind it. Because it's one thing for, a dozen roses. It's another thing for me to package them in this way. The impact is different, even though it's the exact same thing, but it's not the exact same thing. They're completely different. And that just opened my eyes up to everything that I do. I used to think that if the music was tight, that's all I needed to do. Cool, the music's great, I'm done. No, you're wrong, bro. This thing has to be presented in a specific kind of way. And I used to loathe that. I loathed it because I was like, what? Like, this isn't about the music. And yeah, it's not about the music. It's about everything that's around it as well as the music, because what's around something is just as important as that specific thing. You feel me? And don't get me wrong, don't peg me as Mr. Romantic. I don't believe that I'm that. I'm trying to grow in that because my wife enjoys that. And I want to do things that my wife enjoys. You know what I mean? It's something as simple as 5 minutes after buying the roses that I already bought. I'm already gonna give these to her, and arranging them in a particular way, or even getting a bunch of different flowers and arranging them. I feel like it could go a very long way. And hopefully I'm not just yapping right now, and I'm not a professional florist. But I hope this turns out good so that you can see what I'm talking about. And if it doesn't turn out well, what's even more important than this is the heart behind it and the intention behind it. And that's what I want to do. I want to move with the intention with every single thing that I do. With the way that I talk to my wife, the way that I talk to my children, the way that I talk to everybody. Okay, let me be intentional. Can I build this? Can this be an edifying conversation? Can this be profitable? Not in the sense of like a capitalistic way, but more of a like, does this edify this person? Can I shift this person's perspective in their day just from having this solitary interaction with them? Because I don't know what they were going through earlier today, but I know that I have an opportunity to be in front of them. And if I have an opportunity to be in front of them, I have an opportunity to impact them. And since I have an opportunity to impact them, I now have a choice on whether or not that impact is going to be positive or negative. And I choose the former rather than the latter, positive, because it's easy to be negative. You got to be disciplined and be positive. It's a little cramped, I'm not going to lie, but the heart behind it is all that really matters. Probably have a little too many leaves down there at the bottom. But hey, I got these for $8. They were on sale. I walked into the grocery store. I went grocery shopping and I was like, oh, yo, yeah, I need those. It's a little rough looking, at least to my eyes. But I tried my best and I believe that's expressed. You know what I mean? So, until next time. Y'all still here? That's crazy. If you're still here, please subscribe, like, watch all these twist videos. They're for you.